I'll tell you in a minute. Welcome, everyone, to the Squid and Ultimate Leaf Fan Show. I'm Mike Wilson, the Ultimate Leafs fan. Joining me, as always, my wearing a Ricky Squid vibe. Squid, how's things in the falls? I'll tell you right, I'm in Florida. I know everybody's telling me how wonderful it is. It's pretty cold here today, the last couple of days. So I can imagine at home what it's like.
Well, it's minus 18 degrees Celsius, so it's cold.
Oh, goodness.
And
wow.
we had
So the
2 days in a row of quite a bit of snow as well.
Wow. I know guys have been texting me. So the rinks are probably pretty cold these days. So how are the St. Catherine Saints doing recently? Big weekend, I understand, but what happened?
Well, we won in Cambridge, and then we came home to play them on Saturday night. And of course, I got kicked out with about 5 minutes left because I had a disagreement with this official a few weeks back, and they called 9 penalties on us in the second period. 1 on them. We were down 5-on-3 twice, and then our guy was coming over the blue line, and the guy just hooked him and threw him down. And I lost it. I just screamed at the referee, how is that not hooking? And he kicked me out. And anyway, I did the best. I talked to my owner about not having him referee any more of our games this year. Because I said, obviously, him and I don't see eye to eye, and if he's going to referee our games, he's going to do whatever he can to, screw us. So
yeah,
hopefully that happens.
Well, speaking of referees and screwing players, how about what happened to our old friends south of the border, just south of Toronto, about an hour and a half? The old Buffalo Bills on the weekend with the. I know you were coaching that night, but you heard all about the catch or non-catch. But as a Bills fan, it was a catch.
Yeah, and my son watched the game, and he was livid. He just said, "I can't believe that they did what they did," and unfortunately, it cost the head coach his job.
Yeah, it's and the irony of it is that later that night in the night game, the identical play happened, and they ruled in favor of the guy catching the ball. And I know as you're talking off air, and Chris Collinsworth said, "Oh boy, they'll be screaming to high heaven in Buffalo over that one." But only the Bills could this happen to them. Like Josh Allen has his worst game as a pro. Missing Dawson Knox on a basically easy touchdown that he throws in his sleep. Plays like this, it's just such a shame that it has to happen. The only other team I can think bad things like that happen to are the one we cheer for, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, the Bills, my son's a big Bills fan. I mean, obviously he was born in Buffalo, so
yeah.
He loves the Bills. He loves the quarterback. And he was adamant that it was a catch, that the player was down before the ball came out. So I'm going by what he saw. And
it's a cool business. Sean McDermott loses his job, and Brendan Bean, who put the team together, never gave him a deep threat all year for Josh Allen. They got a lot of players that holes to fill over the season, and he gets a raise and a promotion. Moves to president. So that's cruel business in the sports world, and we got a real sign of that. But speaking of the cruelty, the next issue we want to discuss before we get to what's happened to our Maple Leafs is on the local front, it's going to descend upon us later this week. The elephant not in the room, but in Scotiabank Arena, that's how big this one will be the return of Mitch Marner for his first time in Toronto. Vegas Golden Knight. He got a little taste of the Boo Birds last week in his home barn from visiting Toronto fans. Your thoughts on what might happen this week when he arrives?
I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of boos. That I think every time he touches the puck, pretty much the entire building are going to be screaming. And let's just hope that they beat them this time and ruin his return to Toronto. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, say what you will about the kid. I mean, he is a very gifted player. What I feel bad about is he was a true to Maple Leaf, born here and raised in the city in Toronto. John Tavares was as well, but John Tavares was halfway to a Hall of Fame career playing in Long Island for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Marner's like the true star growing up and cheering for the Argos, the Leafs, the Blue Jays. And, as he's one of those guys, he witnessed several players over the years, a guy like a Vince Carter who quits twice on his team. I mean, can you imagine a hockey player going up to Mark Messier and saying, Mark, I'm not going to be in the team playing for our Game 7 in the playoffs because I got to go to my school graduation in the morning, so I'll see you at the rink. Like, he'd be still getting dental work. And this stiff, they put his sweaters in the rafters. And they want to put a statue at the front of this guy. You get guys like Tulowitzki, like even his own teammate, Nylander, who disappears for games at a time. These guys all get a pass. The media leaves him alone. The fans, and Marner has to wear this. So, the poor guy, he went through all of that. And the thing is that what I got to say about all that is, for him, all the people talking about these things about him, it's funny how John Cooper last year against the best players in the world put him on the ice and in situations where he set up not only the winning goal to win the Four Nations, but some other key goals too as well. So somebody saw some life in that guy's game. So who's this on really?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, call it crazy, whatever you want to call it, but why they didn't. I mean, obviously he wanted more money than they were willing to pay him.
Of course, yes.
Otherwise, he still would have been a Maple Leaf. And I mean, they did what they could, and they eventually had to do a sign and trade, and that was the only way that he was going to get the money that he wanted. And I'm not saying that he's not worth what he got, but I mean, he's pretty much getting paid what the top players in the league are getting paid. And now he's playing center in Vegas, which was, I couldn't believe it when I was watching the game and saw him playing center. Like, I'm going like, well, wait a minute. Like, I mean, he's never played center before.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he did in junior a little bit. I don't know. But, I mean, he didn't play junior with center with the Maple Leafs. I can tell you that. He
put Nylander there instead when they needed a center.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. The other thing we want to get to, I mean, with him coming into town, there's there's going to be a video tribute. What's your thought? Like, well, we've never really discussed it, but what's your thoughts on video tributes?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, there's certain guys that have been with a team for a long, long time. I mean, how many years was he here? Like 8, 9, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, if a guy's with a team for 12, 14 years, I don't have a problem with it. But especially in the situation that he was in, that he could have just signed a contract and, been happy with $9 million or something like that. But no, he wanted more, and he wanted to get paid what the big boys are getting paid. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do one.
They will. Sure. Well, I mean, here's where I'm going with this. I mean, my view in this is next to coaches being interviewed on the benches during the game, or a coach running off the field at the end of the half, which I think are the two dumbest things in sports and a complete waste of time. The next is a video tribute to an active player. Now, think about this. You've got a guy that your team and management has felt isn't worthy to keep, so they trade him, or they don't want to pay him, so they move on and get somebody else. Or the player, as you've suggested, wants more money, so he goes somewhere else. So what are you honoring the guy for? You're like, retired? Yeah. If he's retired, absolutely. Talk about the great things.
Yeah, that's a different story.
But an active player, you either didn't want him or he didn't want to play for you. What are you paying him a tribute for? Like, it's just crazy. And by the way, you're paying him a tribute what? For thank you for doing your job. You know, like it's
no, exactly.
so
I agree with you on that. I mean, I think it's kind of silly. I mean, if a player played somewhere for 15 years and then retired,
different.
That's a different story.
Different.
Completely different story, yeah. But obviously, we see it all over the NHL. Guys leave because they're not happy with what they're getting paid. They want more money, whatever the case might be. And they do a video tribute, which to me is ridiculous.
Well, it's the same as
I'm sorry, but
the best stats I think I ever heard was when Paul Maurice, they were interviewing him during the playoff game in that bench. It was like, what is he going to say? And he said, well, I'm just standing back here drinking coffee. Those guys are doing all the work. Ask them. Well, the look on the interviewer's face was absolutely priceless because they didn't know whether to, you know what, or steal third base. I mean, it was just so funny. And then he made a comment. You know, he was kind of joking, but it's just so stupid. But anyway, so much. And I'll leave you one last thought about, Mitch Marner again. Just remember, now the old nemesis that people love to pick on, and I've said this one before, Mike Babcock never wanted him or Mitch Marner or him or Austin Matthews to play together. On the power play, yes, but not as line mates. And you look at the way he moved around in Vegas. He wasn't put on the top line. He was at the top, and then he was moved, and he's been moved around. So just saying. Yeah. Now,
so that tells you something. That tells you something. And by the way, before we get to the end, I want to. My youngest boy played his 500th game in Cincinnati with the Cyclones.
Well, I was going to give him a tribute at the end.
Which is pretty cool to see. And I think at the end of the season, he's going to be close to 900 professional games, which is pretty amazing.
No, that's awesome. In today's day and age, with the leagues getting younger and more competitive all the time with the ECHL and the AHL, Justin, that's a great tribute. And I think from what we hear, he's not going to be out of the game very long either if he does retire one day, because he'll probably move into management. And I was speaking to the general manager the other day, and he said to me that his name came up, and that whether he wanted to coach or be a GM or on the management side, he said, take the management job. Don't be a coach. Take the management job. More longevity.
It's the safest one.
So congratulations to Justin. I know you're watching at some point. Congratulations on that wonderful, wonderful feat. So Squid, thoughts on the Leafs' last few games? Maybe we'll start with last night.
Last night was embarrassing. I have to say it. Minnesota made them look really, really slow. When you see Quinn Hughes just flying around and, turning and getting away from guys, and then their forwards getting in there and taking pucks away from them, it was one of their worst games of the year, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe that was because Minnesota completely outplayed them, but they looked very, very slow compared to Minnesota.
Wow.
And Minnesota were without their third line, their entire complete third line. Some of their top players, Boldy and a couple other guys, and they didn't even have them dressed. They were injured. So that tells you how good that team is when they win 6-3 and they don't have three of their top forwards.
Well, again, that just sort of goes and fits in suit with what we want to talk about the Leafs, because up until last night, they're having a few bumps here and there, but they seem to be hanging around, and they're playing more of the type of game that Chief wants them to play. Again, it doesn't necessarily always show up on the score sheet, but it wears teams down and it keeps them in games. And the fact remains is that these players, if they're playing that way, it gives them an opportunity every night. And you've been seeing that. And it's a very simple thing. And I'm stating the obvious by saying they're moving their feet. And the point is, they can't score their way out of trouble anymore like they used to be able to. So they have to play a much different game. And they got to avoid chasing the game every night which is when you see what happens last night, what happens. And that chooses the damn result. So if they can stick to the plan, but the problem is they can't have anybody take a night off. Like, I mean, not that they do in sports, but you're going to have the odd bad night. But here is a team that officially can't have anybody have a coasting night because they just can't. They just don't have enough depth throughout the lineup to carry it any other way.
Yeah, I love the way they played a few games there in a row when I think Nylander was out. They played hard. They played physical. Mm-hmm. They got the puck out of their end pretty quickly and turned it the other way. And I thought they played several really good games in a row. And then all of a sudden last night, it was completely different. They spent too much time in their own zone again, and things that we've talked about many, many times, that they do spend too much time in their own zone. Well, that was the case last night. And I mean, it's going to be interesting when Marner comes back on Friday. Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, you know, like that. I mean, that aside, the other thing, the last Marner point I'll leave with you is the fact that people want to judge him on his playoff performances. But the only thing they're forgetting, fans that are all on against Marner, is you have to be in the playoffs to judge somebody on their playoff performance. So this team's going to need life and death to get there, and they miss him desperately, especially on the power play. But I'll leave that as it is. But Max Domi has stepped his game up recently. And again, this is all put in parcel to what we've been talking about for a long time. Let guys play together for a while and leave them. And you see the play of Max Domi has stepped his game up. He sees the ice extremely well. And the dividends and the chemistry he has with Austin Matthews continues to flourish. Bobby McMahon, he's using his speed. Again, that old term, moving his feet. And his tenacity to fight for pucks is paying off. He's got 15 goals. It's contract year too, so that's also helping. But Nick Robinson, they're letting him play. And look what he's doing. Look at the way he's handling it now. He's playing more the type of player that they thought they were getting to come out of junior. I saw him the other night pull one between his legs and take a shot on goal. You know, he wouldn't have tried that earlier. But now he knows he's in the lineup and he's playing. He's playing much more relaxed, and he's playing a much better game.
Well, because he knows he's going to be in the lineup every night.
Exactly.
You know, whereas before, if he had an off night or whatever, he would sit out the next game or two. And I mean, how many times have we talked about this? Like, put guys together, leave them together, let them play. And if it doesn't work, well, then you do whatever you have to do. But, you know, don't just bench guys or put them in the press box without giving them an opportunity. I
mean, there has been some nice highlights. You know, Scott Laughton has been playing better recently as well, but he has. Yeah, he's been more effective, but they need more out of him. They do. The D is still turning it over too much, as we've addressed many, many times. But the forwards, when they're on their game and being more defensively responsible, it's keeping them in games and it's keeping the puck out of their end a little more than it should. But they still need some work done there. And if the goalies have an off night, then they're dead. But, you know, this team
they need another right-handed D that can play.
Yeah,
in my personal opinion. And of course, one of the guys that they were targeting from Calgary, Anderson, he gets dealt to Vegas. So that makes matters worse.
It sure does. He would have been a nice fit on that Toronto blue line.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh boy, but it sounds like he wanted to go there right from the start, so they made his wish. So they gave him the opportunity, and off he went. So, but yes, there's still some work to be done. But anyway, Squid, we're at that time.
There's still only 1 point out of a playoff spot. So
yeah, we're not done.
Know, they're right there knocking on the door. If you get in, who knows what happens in the playoffs? You just never know.
Well, that leads us to this week's quote of the week, because it's that, and Leafs has shown some signs of improvement, but so have all the other teams. The other teams are all getting better as the season goes along too, except for a few. The road to the playoffs seems long and the journey seems endless, but that's why they have to remain in the present. And I know they're all watching because they're at home tonight relaxing and just taking the night off. So today's quote's going to center around that theme. And are you ready?
All right. Oh, I'm always ready. You know that.
All right. I just got to set it up here a little bit. Focus on the step in front of you, not the whole staircase. Straight to the point.
Yeah, absolutely. I
That's I
totally agree.
And
baby steps, or so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta, I mean, you gotta, and don't get me wrong, this team has been playing very good hockey as of late. No question. But last night wasn't a good effort.
No, and they got their hands full, by the way, tomorrow with Detroit. Vegas, of course, we've discussed on Friday, and in Colorado on Sunday. So it doesn't get any easier. It just goes for they're going up the staircase right to the top, ending on Sunday. Okay? So, you better be taking them one step at a time. Well, folks, any further comments before we go?
No. Allow me to interrupt.
Oh,
nothing's wrong. I know normally when you see me, it means there's a big problem. But before you left, I wanted to share a couple of images with you from the Cincinnati Cyclones X account.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow. that is pretty cool.
Yep, they gave Justin a Cincy sweater with Vive 500 on it, and I just wanted to make sure everybody got to see that.
Oh, Glenn. Well, that's why, Glenn, you're the ace producer, man. That is awesome.
That is so cool.
Well, make sure Justin's watching tonight. Hope he gets to see that. Well, Glenn, thank you very much for having me. We can't end on a better note than that. So no comments, further comments, Squid, after that. That's the great ending right there.
No, that's the end.
You can't top that one. So that's all we have for today, folks. Remember to check out our Library Squid and the Ultimate Fan podcast, available on most podcast networks, our YouTube page. Again, as we talked about, tough week ahead for the Leafs, but hopefully they can keep it together. And we'll have some good reporting for you next week.